Hi there, it's Steph. Thanks for popping by my channel. Today I wanted to share with you 3 cards I've made using this Lawn Fawn stamp set called Let's Bokeh. I started by doing 3 distressed backgrounds. I will only show you one. They all work pretty much the same way, just different colors. I picked two different shades of pink, and I just blend my colors together. It's not perfect blending, but that's okay. Once you stamp, the white circle, your eye will be attracted by the white. So I stamped with some Hero Art white unicorn pigment ink, and I used a little sponge dauber to make it a bit more smooth, because my ink is very wet, so when I stamped it looked really wet. And I will keep stamping until I'm happy about the design of the background. I did let that dry for a good 24 hours, maybe even a bit more, because it was very wet. So here are my 3 backgrounds. And once I'm done with that, I'm starting to work with my crittings and my little critters, let's call them. So I've used the Mama Elephant Reindeer stamp set, and then I thought reindeer is not quite right, but I did go through the coloring, and I thought, let's turn them into cats. So here we go. I turned them into brown little cats halfway through, and I'm actually happy. I think it's quite cute. I've removed the antlers, and I made the ears a little bit more pointy. I will also draw a little cat's nose, and I think it works okay. I mean, the ears could be a bit more on the top of the head, but it's a cat with a big head, and it's quite cute. And this is quite basic copy coloring. I only used 2 different shades of brown, 2 or 3, sorry, 2 shades of brown and maybe 1 flesh. And then I color the gritting and give it a bit of dimension. And then you won't see it, but I fussy cut off camera, so you don't see the detail on that. Once I'm happy with all the coloring, I just add a little bit of pattern, I suppose we could say, to the little cat's head, so they look more like cats. Then I move on to my second card, and I type my gritting, and this one will have robots on it. And this is still a Lawn Fawn stamp set, and I do what I called reverse stamping. I don't know if it's actually called reverse stamping or mirror stamping, but it's really practical if you want to do a design like that, where you want the little critter robot to hold the banner on each side. And then with a Copic multiliner, I just did the outline, because the designs are quite, it's straight lines, it's quite easy to go over, and at the end it doesn't look, it looks as good as the first stamp, the stamp in the right, right side, if you know what I mean. So I'm happy with it. And then I do basic copy coloring with my cool gray markers. And these markers are great for robots. I think they work really well. It really gives you that kind of tin color effect, and I think it works really well. So here we go, and once I'm done with that, I move on to my third card, and I've stamped quite a few times the reverse stamping, because I wasn't quite sure which one was going to be the best. When you do reverse stamping, the acetate tends to slide off the paper, so sometimes I have to stamp a few times just to get it right. But as you see, these ones are straight lines as well. It's the critters from the past stamp set from Lawn Fawn, and it's quite easy to go over the line with a Copic multiliner, so that's quite, it's easy to do. And I keep same thing, basic coloring, 2 different color with my shading, and all good. Then I stamp my gritting, happy birthday. I was in a birthday mood. And I do a bit of shading here as well. And I'm thinking I could really buy some of these stamps where the label is already drawn on it, so I don't have to do that banner effect. A little bit of shading, and here I move on to the little presents. So I want each card to have a few presents with the same color than the background, not the color of the critter, the one of the background. So that's for my first card, and then I moved on to the second one, and then the fourth one. I try to do a little bit of shading, but these are quite small stamped images, so shading is not that easy to do on that. I mean, it's not hard to do, sorry. It doesn't take that much work, and 2 colors are perfectly fine. I will then fussy cut all the presents. I do have the dies, but because I fussy cut the little cats, I wanted everything to be the cats and the dinosaurs, I wanted everything to be fussy coated. So here I go. I glue my bokeh background onto a piece of black cardstock, and then I place my little banner and my two little cats. I then add my little presents matching my background with the color, and obviously I'm gonna add some Wake of Stella because otherwise it wouldn't be me. And I will add some glossy accents. So reason why I did all of that before I put it onto a blank card is because when you put the glossy accent, paper tends to warp. Even if in that case there's 3 layers of paper, and with the card it would be 4, but I didn't want the warping, so I just decided to do it like that, let it dry, and glue it onto a blank card later on. And here you go. I just repeat the same process for every single card, sorry, and I really like it. I think it's really cute. Once again, I'm trying to use the stamp set I have because we can't always buy a brand new stamp set, and I'm just trying to stretch the use I have out of them, and I think this one works quite well as well. It's the reason I bought that stamp set. I wanted to share that with you because I did some bouquet cards in the past. The circles were a bit larger because what I had done is that I used my circle dies and I cut a stencil with the circle dies out of a piece of acetate. The result was great, but it was so much hard work. The stencil, because this ink is so wet, every time the stencil would touch the ink that was already on the paper, I had to wipe my stencil, make sure it was really clean, otherwise it would make stain on the paper, it would take forever to dry, and I was doing that with a sponge dauber, and I'm not joking, it was taking forever. So when I saw that stamp set was out, I was like, oh, I gotta buy that. And it goes so much faster, and at first it doesn't look like the result is great, but once it dries, it tends to become a bit more uniform and you don't see the patches as much. So, once you have the background, the inked background, and then and then the banner, the presents, the robots, everything, it looks fine. I do really like the result. I think it's very colorful and I think it would work great for children or maybe even, young adults who like colors that pop. So that was my last 3 cards for the coloring challenge, and I really like this, practicing coloring, and I'm gonna keep going, and I hope we have another challenge soon. I hope you liked it too. I hope it will maybe encourage you to use your stamp set to do something similar, one design but use different critters or different stamp sets and mix and match. Thank you very much for watching and have a great week. Thanks, bye.